When you look at the history of airplanes, it seems the more engines, the better. At first, one engine worked like a charm. Eventually, they tossed in a second bonus engine. Then that became the standard. And when a third engine was added, regular people thought, hey, I think I'll give this flying thing a try. Turns out the man who made it possible for passengers to drive to the airport also helped take them up in the air. Henry Ford wanted the world to experience the open road on the ground and in the sky. He's even behind the world's first paved airport runway and first airport hotel. But his most remarkable contribution to aviation is the tri-motor plane. I caught up with Matt Anderson, curator of transportation at the Henry Ford, to learn more.
It really is a tremendous looking aircraft.
There's nothing else quite like it, but it's a 1928 Ford tri-motor.
Which means it has
3 engines, exactly.
I knew that.
The Ford Tri-Motor, bearing the familiar name and logo, was first produced in 1926. This Ford plane with 3 motors helped to usher in passenger air travel.
And 3 motors, obviously better than 2?
Yeah, the 3 motors aren't really for more power or speed. They're for a greater margin of safety. So it's designed so that if one motor fails, it can still fly with 2 pretty well. And even if with just 1 engine, it can fly level and get to the ground safely.
Yeah, people had been skeptical about traveling by air, partly because it's just natural. I mean, we're not designed to fly.
The Tri-Motor's safety was its appeal. And with Ford's trusted name on the plane, air travel really began to take off. The Tri-Motor could carry 12 to 15 passengers, 2 pilots, and 1 flight attendant.
It was the backbone of the U.S. commercial aviation industry in the late 20s into the 30s.
And it was used by airlines not only in the U.S., but around the world.
This plane flew at only about 115 miles per hour. Today's passenger airplanes travel at about 550 miles per hour.
Was it a smooth flight?
It would have been a little rough compared to what we're used to. This plane only flew about 2,000 feet off the ground, so it's still being affected by weather. It also would have been noisy as all get out with those 3 engines just kind of droning along.
Henry Ford decided to stop making airplanes in 1932. The Depression was on, and he needed to concentrate on his core business of making automobiles. But the 199 tough, reliable tri-motors that had been built by Ford Motor Company went on flying for decades to come, and some still fly even today.
You know, looking from the outside, it's hard to appreciate how cramped the cabin is in a tri-motor.
Oh, but it is cramped. Whoa, here we go. And these really are wicker chairs.
They are. You know, it's strong, but it's also lightweight, which is important in these early airplanes.
I don't see any tray tables.
No tray tables to lock, no seat belts to clasp, no in-flight announcements, for that matter. Yeah, so, you know, if you're flying for the first time, you just have to wing it.
Plain and simple.